Hey YouTube, what's up? Alright, I'm making my third video on basic training and shit like that. My third video is going to consist of the different bases that you can go to and the drill sergeants and basically the different types of drill sergeants that you're going to see and have, and how to best get around the ones that are going to be really difficult and all that cool stuff. I'm going to start with the bases. So there's a couple bases that they send you to basic training. You're going to be sent to, there's Fort Sill in Oklahoma, there's Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri, there's Fort Jackson in South Carolina, there's Fort Benning, which is in Georgia, and then apparently, I didn't even know this until recently, they'll also send you to Fort Knox. I can't really tell y'all much about Fort Knox. I haven't ever met anybody that went to Fort Knox for basic training, but apparently they send you there. Anyways, so I'm going to start with where I went. I went to Fort Jackson. It's the most relaxed base by far, but I'm going to go into the weather because that was the worst part of the whole thing. If you're there in a summer month, you're not going to have a good time. It was like 85 to 95 degrees from July 28th when I got there all the way until about midway through September. I left on October 10th. Hold on. Alright, I'm figuring out this editing thing a little bit more. So, if you see it jump, it's because I paused it to, like, spit or yell at somebody or something like that. Anyways, so, the weather. The whole time I was there, it was like 85 to 95 degrees, and you may be thinking if you're from, like, Texas or Arizona, oh, that's not that bad. Well, the humidity there is insane. It's like 80% humidity or so. And, there's no wind at all, like ever. There's like never any wind unless it's raining, which happens, but that just makes it more humid. When I left in the winter, or not in the winter, wow, when it was getting cooler, even then, when it was like 60 degrees and you weren't really, like you didn't think you'd really be sweating, you still sweat because it was so humid, and you get like, your uniform got wet because like, it would like stick to you and stuff, so it's just not good. Fort Benning is worse, I might add. Fort Benning is like, that's where they're gonna send all of the infantry. If you're infantry, you're gonna go there, and then if you have like airborne in your contract or any of those special combat MOSs or anything like that, you're gonna go to Benning. If not for basic, as well as AIT, your AIT, which is really an extension of basic for you infantry people, you're gonna go there anyways. The other thing is Benning is definitely the hardest. They're the hardest on you there. We have got a few people here, not many, that went to Benning, and yeah, it was a lot harder. You have Fort Sill. It's not as hard as Benning, but it's harder than Jackson. And then Fort Leonard Wood's not quite as hard as Fort Sill, so you get that escalation. Like I said, I know nothing about Fort Knox. Now I'm going to go into drill sergeants and the different types of drill sergeants you're going to have. Basically, since they're training you in basic combat skills, most of your drill sergeants are going to have been infantry of some sort. I had, in our company, we had like 11 drill sergeants. We had like 6 that were airborne infantry, 82nd Airborne. My platoon sergeant, my senior drill sergeant, he was airborne assault from the 101st. And then we had an MP, which is military police. We had a this is my platoon. We also had she was a combat medic. She was a 68 whiskey. And then also there were other, our meanest drill sergeant was a cook. It's kind of interesting, right? But yeah, our meanest drill sergeant was a cook. And then our first sergeant was he was a ranger. So, you know, you got some people who have actually seen some combat, and you know, they're gonna have stories to tell, and they're gonna have a lot of wisdom to share. Sometimes it's gonna seem redundant and stupid, but I mean, they've seen shit, and they're trying to help you not become one of those people that they've seen, make a stupid mistake and die. So if they're doing redundant shit with you, just keep that in mind. Like, it's all for your benefit, and they're trying to benefit you the best way that they can. The different types of drill sergeants you're gonna have. Yeah, you're gonna have chill drill sergeants. You're gonna have drill sergeants they're gonna joke around with you. We had pretty much all of our. Sorry, I got a Facebook notification. All of our drill sergeant, all three of mine in my platoon were chill. They'd have moments where they take the hat off when the tack comes off. Gets a lot more calm. They're not really acting as a drill sergeant there. They're acting as either a parental figure or, somebody that they see as, oh, well, you're going into the Army. I'm gonna treat you as somebody that's in the Army. They're gonna give you wisdom. They're gonna joke around with you and stuff like that. Then you're gonna have the drill sergeants that are just straight up mean. Like, you gotta understand. All right, you gotta understand. They're giving up a lot of their time. Like, they're gonna be there. Like, you get up at like 4:30 in the morning. They're there before that to wake you up. A lot of the time they are, and they do PT with you. They do all your training with you. There are times where you've got like overnight stuff, like Nick at night. You don't get back until like 12. You've got ruck marches and stuff like that. You've got, let's see, what else is there that's overnight? The NOD course, which is firing with night optics, which is actually really cool. But, they got to be there for all that. So, yeah, you're like, oh, well, man, I got to go from 4:30 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. Yeah, they got to go from, like, 3 in the morning until, like, 12 at night. Their schedule is crazy. Yeah, they got days off, but, when they don't have time, they don't really have a whole lot of time to themselves, to their families, and, a lot of them didn't volunteer to be drill sergeants. You don't usually do that. Your commander's like, you're a really squared away soldier, so boom, I'm gonna have you fill this out. If you get accepted, then you're going to drill sergeant school, which is, by the way, at Fort Jackson. That's where they send them to get trained, and they go through basic training all over again. That they go through everything that you did again. So they're giving up a lot of their time. Most of them didn't choose to be there. If you get a good one, they understand it's not your fault, and they really don't take it out on you. But you get the ones that do, and the best way to deal with them is just, who your drill sergeants are that are more chill. You just deal with them, and you deal with the people that are really grouchy all the time as absolutely little as possible. And then you got the ones that are like, they're just mean, like straight up mean. And we've got a few of those, and just steer clear of them. But at the same time, remember, your best defense is none at all when it comes to, especially basic training in the military in general with superior ranking people. If they're yelling at you about something, don't go, oh, but da-da-da. No, just go, yes, drill sergeant, and move on. It makes your life so much easier. If they tell you to do push-ups, they tell you to lick bricks, if they tell you to paint rocks, whatever the fuck they tell you to do, just do it, and you're going to get through it. I promise you, there's 95% of the time, there's a purpose that they're doing it. And even if there isn't a purpose and they're just being mean, there's still a reason. It makes you stronger, so you're just going to have to learn to deal with the people like that. And then you're going to run into the people that are obviously damaged. Like, I've heard stories, this one guy had a drill sergeant that would, like, make them all form up, and he'd be like, trainees. And he'd just stand there and stare off into space for, like, forever before he'd start saying anything. And one time he apparently made them form up, and then he left, and they didn't see him for, like, 3 days. Like, there are some that are messed up. You got to understand, the infantry people have been through some crap. Like, I've heard some stories, the infantry people have been through some crap. My drill sergeant had 4 different deployments, and in those 4 deployments, he'd been on, like, 8 different combat operations, which is crazy. And him being airborne assault, pretty crazy stuff that he would have seen and done in his time so far in the military. But you just gotta understand, they've been through some crap. They probably don't necessarily want to be spending 2-3 years of their lives just doing that with no personal time at all whatsoever. So yeah, you're gonna just stomach it out, deal with it, and you're gonna get through that. And you got to keep in mind, this isn't gonna be like school where they just want to push you through. If they really don't think that you should be there, they're gonna let their superiors know, and they're gonna try to get you out, and they're gonna tell you straight up whether or not they think you're gonna make it, and they're gonna, and some of them they may not like you if you're freaking lazy and you're not honest and stuff like that. They're not gonna like you, and they're gonna make it obvious that they don't like you. You're just gonna get stupid for you really quick. I mean, like me personally, out in the civilian world, I'm pretty sarcastic. I got a short fuse, but no matter how stupid things got with a drill sergeant, I never mouthed off. I mean, you just deal with it, because if you get an attitude like that, you got to put it away when you're in basic with a drill sergeant. And I would recommend staying out of as much crap as possible while you're there with the other trainees too, because if they don't like you, then they're going to make your life hard too. If the other trainees in your platoon and your company don't like you, they're going to make your life hard, and it's not going to be fun. So, I mean, like, put the attitude away if you've got it. Just deal with it. If you're about to ship, like in the next month or so, realize there's going to be, they call it Christmas exodus or holiday block leave, which means in the middle of basic, you're going to go home. You're going to go home for Christmas. And the drill sergeants hate it because they get you disciplined and all that. And then you go home for 2 weeks and you drink and you smoke and all that crap. And, it messes up their training regimen. And they really don't like it. So just compartmentalize. Remember, when you're in civilian codes, act well, but, you can goof off a little bit. When you're in a military uniform, act right. Act like they want you to act. You're representing the military. And, it's just going to basically make your life a whole lot easier if you remember that. Then when you get into AIT, you have a lot more leeway to goof off and stuff like that. When you're in basic, besides Sundays, you're not going to have a whole lot of personal time. You're going to be doing what they want you to do all the time. Just do it. And then when you get to AIT, you get the weekends back. And, I'm going on holiday block leave. December 20th is when it starts, and it ends on January 2nd. I'm looking forward to that a whole lot. If you go on holiday block leave, please don't be stupid. Don't go out and smoke weed and stuff like that. As far as drinking goes, especially if you're of age, they're really not going to care. Obviously, if you're 18 plus, you probably had alcohol before. You're probably going to go home and drink a little bit, but don't do anything stupid. Don't drink and drive. In fact, if you're going to drink, stay at whoever house you're at when you're drinking. Don't leave and go to another house. Don't leave and go somewhere out in public. All you're going to do is increase the chances of you getting caught. And seriously, don't do drugs. That's dumb. Like, don't go out and, especially, we got a lot of people apparently that get high on weed when they're out on what am I trying to say? Like leave or something like that, and they do a full drug test when you get back. Like, there's not really much of any way that you're gonna hide it. Just, you're in the military, you signed a paper, you knew what it meant. Don't do it while you're in. Wait till you get out. That's honestly like the thing I'm gonna say about that. Unless it gets past that you can do it. Just don't. It's stupid. It's a dumb idea, and it won't get you anywhere in life. And last thing for the night, because I see it all the time, is don't get into basic and go, oh, this sucks, and then do something stupid on purpose to get kicked out. Because yeah, you'll go home. Yeah, you won't. It's gonna be easier for you in the short term, but in the long term, I mean, your chances of getting an honorable discharge are, you're not even really in the military yet. And they're probably going to either less than honorably discharge you or dishonorably discharge you. And then you're going to go apply for a job somewhere. after college or something like that, and they're going to do a background check, and they're going to see that, and you're not going to get the job most of the time. It will mess you up in the long run. Sign up. If you signed the contract, you knew what it meant. Do your time. Get out if you decide it's not for you. I see it. I've seen the people. I got respect for the people that are like, it's not for me, but I signed a contract. I'm doing my time, and I'm getting out. Don't be dumb and be like, oh, well, I'm going to do this so that I can get kicked out. It will not benefit you at all in the long run. So that's going to be a wrap for tonight's video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. And, yeah, have a good one.